Who is one popular celebrity that you dislike strongly? The much shorter list would be celebrities I like. Or for me, that I care enough about to like or dislike. I can never understand why people put so much attention into people they will never meet or get to know properly, all based on an often made-up persona they pump out. James Corden's fake interest in his carpool guests is cringingly exhausting to watch. The comments on his AMA are gold. Link to the thread. I had no idea he was hated, and this thread is delicious. Chris Brown. I'm sure Rihanna was not the first or last woman he's abused. It disappoints me that he's still so popular, especially with women. I know. To be honest, I try to get over it because it seems like Rihanna and everyone else has, but I can't. That situation has forever soured my view of him. It's just irredeemable. It's nice that Rihanna has forgiven him, but I am not Rihanna. He's done plenty of shitty things since Rihanna too. Punched and allegedly threatened to shoot up Frank Ocean in January 2013. He was involved in an alleged hit and run in July, arrested for felony assault in October. He was kicked out of rehab in 2014. In 2016 he was involved in a standoff with police over pointing a gun at a woman in his home, while being barred from owning said gun due to previous charges. In 2017 he allegedly punched a man who took his picture, and was charged with assault and battery for it in 2018. He was sued in 2021 by a former housekeeper who alleged she was attacked by one of his dogs in 2020, and allegedly had the dog put down to cover it up. Jake Paul. Obvious reasons. Him and his brother are walking advertisements for why you should use condoms. Gwyneth Paltrow. She's a pretentious, greedy scam artist. Madonna. Does she have good, or decent, music? Yes. Is she iconic? I won't deny that. But one thing I noticed is how disrespectful she is. She's talented, but personality matters the most to me, even in a celebrity. She started out her career as a multifaceted talented artist, although not really my style of go-to genre, but as time went on she formed into a joke when she started residing in England and tried to claim her newly English accent was authentic and come by naturally. The motivation she had to pass off this bullshit as natural only made me question her self-esteem. She is from Bay City, me. I live in the area myself. I think she was always ashamed of her hometown for whatever reason. Must have been very consuming to go as far as to act like she has this accent. A bit extreme. She probably is not a very happy person in real life. Jared Leto is just a couple of steps away from being Harvey Weinstein. I haven't heard what's happened. How is he similar to Weinstein? Rumor has it he liked to hook up with very underage fans at his concerts in the early 2000s, and probably continued into the 10s. I briefly met him once. I was in front of him for a split second and there was a big ass table in between, but he still gave me creepy vibes like pretty much no one else. Other than that, he's got a huge cult going on and he's notorious for being one of the biggest jerks in all Hollywood. I remember when he played Joker that he was using something similar to method acting, probably just to justify his jerk behavior, and he was sending pig heads and used condoms to his co-workers. He freaks me out a bit. Oprah is the worst pseudoscience peddling, fake empathy performing, sexual predator enabling, narcissistic sociopathic phony ever. I hate her to the deepest depths of hell. The podcast maintenance phase always comes back to Oprah. Like she somehow pops up in all the slimy, snake oil type people. Because of her we have really awful people that have a platform. Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil, Weight Watchers, although she was just the spokeswoman, there's some others but I can't remember. But it seems like Oprah is always involved in these really predatory people. DJ Khaled. His Instagram is filled with videos of him being totally obnoxious, asking his chef what's for dinner only to interrupt her immediately with some dumb catchphrase for the camera, and his recent video where he tries to play the guitar he got from the Marley family is a desecration of Bob Marley's memory. Edit, to be clear, I definitely dislike him as a person, but the stuff he does is so overwhelmingly funny/cringe to me that I continue to follow him, mostly just to see what ridiculous thing he does next. Some of it is truly hilarious. Example, the clip of him talking to a woman at the end of a music video and informing her that he's got a new name in the streets. They call me by we. He means Billy, but it sure don't sound like it. I wouldn't say he's popular, but he's a celebrity, of sorts. Steven Seagal. Man, fuck Steven Seagal. His rap sheet is horrendous. Multiple women accused him of sexual assault, not to mention how much he demanded nudity and sex scenes in his movies just so he can stroke his ego. His list of accusations of sexual misconduct is so massive that it has its own Wikipedia page. He was once an honorary member of Joe Arpaio's police force, and when he was taken to be a part of a raid, he rammed the house of the man who was raided with a fucking tank, also killing the man's dog. Body slammed John Leguizamo against a wall because Leguizamo made a joke about him. He had only one brief stint on SNL in the early 90s and he was universally disliked by both the cast and the writers. David Spade, in particular, shat hard on him. He was rude to both the cast and the writers, refused to do a Hans and Franz sketch, a sketch involving Dana Carvey and Kevin Nealon playing bodybuilders, because the sketch was implying that either one of the characters could beat up Seagal. He challenged Gene LaBelle, a professional judo artist and Hollywood stunt fighter, who, amongst other accomplishments, even trained Bruce Lee, and was an inspiration for Brad Pitt's Cliff Booth character in Wage, saying that he couldn't chokehold him. LaBelle not only got him in a chokehold, but apparently, Seagal not only passed out, he also shat his pants. Seagal always denies this story. He also loves to be buddy-buddy with dictators around the world, and basically whores himself as a court jester for money to them. He actually is friends with Belarus dictator Lukashenko, and there is a bizarre video of him eating carrots with Lukashenko. Incredibly rude, with diva behavior all around, and makes constant ridiculous demands in order for him to perform, which is hilarious since he is a glorified D-list actor who hasn't been famous since the 90s. And lastly, his entire career is a fluke. He got his start in Hollywood because he ran an Aikido dojo in LA and one of his pupils was Michael Ovitz, one of the biggest Hollywood talent agents, and he got Seagal a role in Above the Law, his first feature film, because Ovitz made a bet that he could make anyone a movie star. That Turkish beefsteak chef who sprinkles salt from high up along his arm. He has such an arrogant demeanor. Ellen DeGeneres. 2 to 3 years ago, got a little tipsy one night and vented to my family about how much I disliked her and how I thought she was fake as fuck. My family thought I was crazy. Then all the shit came out about her. Alison Mack, since she helped women join a cult that was essentially selling themselves as sex slaves. I will always confuse her with Alex Mack. Alex Mack wears a hat. Demi Lovato. Grew up loving them. They had an amazing voice and I felt genuinely sad for them after both of their overdoses. The yogurt shop incident did me in and now I just find theme to be obnoxious. I've disliked her ever since she called out Taylor Swift for trying to help Kesha during her legal battle. Taylor donated some money to Kesha and Demi tweeted that she's not impressed unless Taylor goes to fight issues on Capitol Hill. I normally don't care about celebrity stuff, but this just seemed super petty and self-righteous. Demi tried to make it about herself and how she does so much for women's rights. Chrissy Teigen, she uses her brain-dead Twitter followers to harass people who offend her or insult her and she has terrible opinions. She's the worst kind of online celeb. I'll never forget her sending her followers after a small-time food journalist who was a fan of hers but said very politely Teigen's LA food guide wasn't that great. Lamau Chrissy got so upset, tweeted her to be rude and to have her followers pile on that poor woman, thin-skinned and petty AF. Let's not forget she told a teenager to kill themselves. She truly is a piece of shit. Makes me side-eye John as well tbh. He must know what she's like. Khloe Kardashian, the amount of disrespectful behavior she has on anything is disgusting. The amount of disrespect she gives, especially to people who are fat, is horrible. Regarding she took her fat out and shoved it into her ass. Robin Thicke. I get deeply uncomfortable even seeing him. I used to love blurred lines for God knows what reason, and then one day after seeing that photo essay, From the Mouths of Rapists, about victims of sexual assault who found that the song was reminiscent of their experiences, I realized that it's fucking deplorable. I have no idea how he became a judge on The Masked Singer. I loved that show for a while, but seeing him on a regular basis was not fun. Woody Allen. He married his adopted daughter after grooming her from age 7. How is that man not in jail? Nina Dobrev. Everyone thinks she's the sweetest person, but she was an absolute bitch to my friend at a festival for having taken a photo of the artist playing. Nina apparently thought my friend was trying to take a flash photo of her and grabbed the phone out of her hand and threw it. It ruined our night because we couldn't find the phone in a crowd of people. Find My iPhone wasn't helpful because everything was so loud. One time I smoked a little bit too much wacky tobacco and thought about fighting Tom Cruise, so that's something. David Dobrik. Surprised he wasn't mentioned. He always does this little weird laugh in almost every sentence he speaks. That's always irked me. Had a girlfriend that used to love watching his videos, and I definitely was entertained sometimes, but I picked up on that little giggle he does with every line, and it's just irritated me ever since. Ed Sheeran. I've had several weird dreams about him, including him being a shapeshifter and stalking me. I have no idea why I have these dreams, but the fact that it's happened at least 4 times is enough for him to get my vote.